This is actually completely true because the Bible does explicitly state that there are other gods, and not just idols, but actual divine beings that Yahweh claims to be above. Let's get into it.
All right, let's see it.
We'll start out with the simple one that everyone knows, Exodus 20, verse 3. You shall have no other gods before me. Think about it. If other gods didn't exist, then why would Yahweh tell people not to put them before him? And before you try to bend this and say that it meant idols, no, it didn't. It said gods.
This is totally accurate.
Okay, fine. What about Psalm 82:1? God stands in the divine assembly. He judges among the gods. Here it gets even clearer. He's standing in the council of the gods, and he's not alone. Did he say demons? No, he said gods again.
This is also totally accurate. Psalm 82 is a divine council court scene, and the divine council, which is referred to as both gods and sons of Elyon, are the various patron deities of the other nations of the earth. And you can see my paper from the Journal of Biblical Literature, The God's Complaint, Psalm 82, as a psalm of complaint, for a more detailed discussion of what exactly is going on with these other gods and how this psalm is trying to expand Adonai's sovereignty beyond the land of Israel to all the nations of the earth.
Deuteronomy 10:17. For the Lord your God is the God of gods and Lord of lords. Again, why say God of gods if no other gods exist? That's like saying King of kings. It only makes sense that there's other rulers to compare to.
Also totally correct. The rhetoric would be meaningless if the other gods didn't exist and were entirely fabricated imaginary beings. That would be like saying God is so much better than nothingness. That is rhetorically meaningless. The rhetoric only has meaning to the degree that the other gods are seen not only as existing, but as powerful. The more powerful they are, the more powerful you're making your God sound by saying, our God is the God over all the other gods.
Exodus 15:11. Who is like you, O Lord, among the gods? And that's another direct comparison. He's saying he's greater among the other gods, not that they don't exist.
This is also completely accurate, and this is the rhetoric of incomparability, which is rhetoric that we find in the literature of all the larger polytheistic empires and nations that surrounded ancient Israel. They all talked about a god they were favoring in a particular text as so much greater than all the other gods that they were all nothing compared to them. So this is the same kind of rhetoric we find in Egyptian and Mesopotamian and in other mythological texts.
So when Christians say today that, oh, there's only one God, that's not exactly true. The Bible claims that there are many gods, but Yahweh claims to be above them. That's a huge difference. So if you think about it, it doesn't really sound like monotheism anymore.
That is totally correct. There is no monotheism anywhere in the Bible, at least to the degree that monotheism is understood as in any way, meaning there are no other gods. Some people have redefined monotheism because they're engaging with the contemporary scholarship, but still want to maintain the notion that there's monotheism in the Bible, so they renegotiate what they mean by monotheism to mean something like that Adonai is species unique, to borrow a term from Mike Heiser, or something like that. But that's redefining monotheism so that you can still find it in the Bible, and I've been critical of this kind of scholarship. In fact, I've got an essay in the Oxford Research Encyclopedia of Religion talking about monotheism and how attempts to redefine monotheism are part of attempts to try to maintain this ideological continuity between the Bible and religious communities of today. And then I also helped organize a conference last year at Brown University on monotheism and its absence from the Bible and from the ancient world. And the proceedings from that conference are going to be published next year in an edited volume, and I am one of the editors on the volume. So I will have more information on that when it's getting closer to publication. But this is pretty standard fare. Scholars would really have no objection to the observations made in this video. The Bible recognizes the existence of other gods from beginning to end, and the only real way to find monotheism in the Bible is to change what the word monotheism means until it matches something that you think you can find in the Bible. And the fit for this video has been the John Romita Jr. Daredevil versus Punisher.